Hey friends, I am at the hilltop right on one of the hills in Goa, and the hill is just across the vast sea downside. I'll just turn the camera to so that you can have a view of the sea, just a slight view. I'm still visible, and the sun is just across. I may get blurred out, and that's a nice mansion just behind me, as you see. What about having this kind of a freedom, where you can roam places in tranquility? There is absolutely no one across this place, absolutely zero person you can see around except a few houses around, and the houses are mesmerizing. The fantastic bungalows right across the sea is something which you can dream of. Well, I'm standing in this place where I had a dream of, and just by standing in the place, it doesn't mean that you need to own every place where you visit. You might find tranquility at n number of places. How can you possibly own n number of places and destroying the tranquility of the particular place, encroaching the place that has been done by developers, encroaching, building houses, building skyscraper apartment to have a view of the sea. And this place where there is nobody around, and I'm enjoying the peace of the sea. Just visit and fulfill that desire of life. And when you have this financial freedom, there are many aspects which you can fulfill for yourself. It's the fulfillment which comes through financial freedom. Well, you can be happy always, whether you have money or not have money. One can always be happy, but financial freedom can give him that additional comfort in life which he has always desired. And when I say financial freedom, there are three aspects which I would like to discuss in this specific video. The first aspect is how you can achieve your financial freedom. What are the assets you can invest so that you can achieve your financial freedom in this lifetime? And when you invest in these assets, you can achieve your financial freedom in the span of at least 10 years. Well, it's not a quick money. You have to have that patience. You need to have that temperament to wait for 10 years to the minimum so that you can achieve your financial freedom much earlier in life and you can retire early. The second aspect which I want to discuss is that why you need to have this freedom. Why should anyone desire why should anyone achieve this financial freedom, so-called financial freedom? You will know that once you achieve financial freedom, the amount of aspects you can bring into your life, the amount of freedom you can bring in your life. The second aspect is I'm going to discuss about that, and the third aspect is how you can plan your financial freedom in this particular lifetime so that you can make it a reality for yourself. So first aspect, to have a dream like this come true into your life, where you can visit whenever you want, wherever you want, with whomever you want, or just be alone at your own tranquility. So when I say financial freedom, the way I have brought it financial freedom to myself, and the many aspects when it comes to financial freedom, you might think like you need to have like too much of riches so that you can achieve this financial freedom. The first aspect you need to understand of financial freedom, you need to keep your expenses to the minimum when you're starting the journey of financial freedom, and then eventually once you are able to cater these expenses, then you can expand your expenses and cater to little more luxuries as you go on in your journey of financial freedom. And financial freedom is more about having that degree of freedom, degree of comfort, wherein you know that you are able to pay more than twice or thrice your current expenses. You have the freedom, that you have the comfort, and you know that no matter what, you are able to survive by paying the current expenses, and you have earning significant enough 2 or 3 times more. And how can you achieve this? You can achieve it whilst you are in your job. And whilst in your job, you can invest into foremost is stocks, the second is property, and the third is gold. Gold is like an insurance to equity, so that whenever equity goes down, you have gold to cover you up, and you have property which gives you significant cash flow which you need on a monthly basis, on a regular basis, on a regular frequency, so that to meet your expenses. Nevertheless, stocks also pay you dividends over a period of time. Every year on year, companies pay you dividends, and through these dividends you can also meet your expenses. But these are the 3 avenues which one should invest into so that they can meet their financial freedom and achieve and get the life of their choice, live a life of their choice, live a life of freedom. You know, with freedom comes the freedom where you can make your own individual choices. You're not boiled upon or dug upon to say that, you know, you need to do only this in your life, or you need to do only this aspect in your life. Nothing like that. You're free to do any aspect in your life. And these are the three assets which one should and definitely have. And once you're able to meet your expenses, you know, up to your expenses and 3 times more than the expenses, then you can multiply into other knowledge areas of investment, that you can write a book, you can do social media marketing, you can do social media videos like the way I'm doing today. You can have the time and luxury to do work on your passion. You know, it could be any kind of passion which you are most passionate about, or most inclined about, most wanting to do throughout your life. You know, maybe like a nature visit or a tranquility visit. And when you do a tranquil visit, don't, you know, just go and buy the place. You know, it might destroy the place, and the other people would like to see the place like me. You know, just having small moments in this tranquility, visiting the nice ocean and the greenery around. And by the way, during the rainy season, this side is fantastically, amazingly green. I'm going to mention you the place. If you want to know the name of the place, please write down in the comment box, and I'm going to email it to you specifically, and after having known enough about you before I share the place, because it's one of the beautiful places around here. The second aspect which I wanted to tell you why you need to financial freedom is, why the earth does anybody want to work throughout his life? Like, if you haven't achieved your financial freedom before you actually retire, you might end up working, struggling in your life after you actually retire. And once you have the freedom, once you have achieved the financial freedom, before you actually retire, maybe even 10 years before you retire, or 5 years before you retire, you have that comfort, you have the mind going very smooth. You feel tranquility in your mind. You feel quite light, you know. And even at your work, your performance at work significantly goes high. You are able to focus on your work, and your productivity increases so significantly that you might just end up, you know, giving an impression to people that you're not probably finishing the work too fast, or, you know, you may be doing very little work. But in fact, as a contrary, you know how to do work efficiently and how to manage people well enough to do your work. So that is the second aspect of financial freedom. There are many more aspects why you should achieve financial freedom and retirement early in your life. And the third aspect, how you can achieve it. Well, there is a 5-step approach of how you can achieve it. The assets I've already covered, but the 5-step approach which you can achieve it is the foremost approach. You need to track your expenses. You need to track your expenses so that you can control them. You need to understand what are the mandatory expenses which you need to, you know, keep it part of your life, and what are those expenses which you can do away with, maybe for that particular point of time when you're starting your journey. And then further on in your life, you can just, you know, add on to it, or just do away with it forever. Like, for example, you have alcohol which you're consuming today. You can do away with alcohol consuming, because it doesn't add much value to your life. In fact, it drains out your life. You can restrict it to smaller doses maybe, and then as you control it, you can eventually give up alcohol, and instead of buying alcohol, you can buy books. This is just as an example. I'm not sure how many of you might like such a example. I myself, as an example, you know, I have been drinking alcohol before in the past, and today I realized that it's not that much of an advantage to actually consume alcohol. Okay, keeping that aside, the alcohol aspect aside, the first thing is tracking your expenses, and then the second aspect is controlling your expenses, which I've already covered. And the third aspect which you need to understand is your tax management. You need to do your tax planning effectively enough. You need to understand when to invest into the fixed avenues. When the equities part is overvalued, you typically go for fixed avenues, and when the equity part is actually dipping down, undervalued, you need to put a lot of portion into equity investing rather than doing a lot of it into fixed income investing. At the same time, when you're doing the fixed income investing, you can save taxes as well. That is the ELSS part of the scheme, which helps you save taxes, and it's also adding to your wealth management. So that's the third aspect. The fourth aspect is you need to have understanding about cash flow management. Well, when I have already covered the asset part, what the type of assets you need to primarily invest into when you start on stocks, and then maybe property and then gold. So you need to understand how to manage your cash flow, when to invest, when to diversify your actual cash into those assets which are actually undervalued in those specific economic cycles. There are specific economic cycles wherein certain assets are undervalued and certain assets are overvalued. You need to have that understanding. So once you have an understanding of that aspect of economic cycles, you can manage your cash effectively enough so that you can grow your wealth significantly enough and preserve your wealth as well by having an understanding of cash flow. And the fifth and the last aspect, which is a major aspect, epic aspect, which you must, no matter what, whether you do these four aspects or not, you need to have mindset control. And mindset control is crucial. Emotional bias could destroy you. Having good control over your emotions is primary to an investor to maintain his cool in the volatility of the markets. The markets could go up, it could go down. When it goes down, there are so many investors who actually end up selling at the wrong moment of time, and when it goes up, you end up buying a lot of it. In fact, it should be the contrary. So having a control over the mindset by focusing on meditation and those aspects, you could have control over the mind and take investing decisions carefully, diligently, after proper kind of analysis, valuations, understanding various profit and loss statements, balance sheet, cash flows, etc., etc. So these are the 5 aspects which you need to majorly focus on to do your financial planning and multiply your wealth significantly. So if this video was helpful enough, and if you have liked the background picture, you can share it to your friends. And if you want to know the name of the place where I am standing at the moment, you're welcome. We can have a visit here at the place whenever you're free, and I am free as well. So like it, share it, subscribe it. See you, bye.